Hello everyone, welcome to Grand Cruz Astrology. My name is Clayton Cruz, and today's video we're going to talk about September 2023. And this is great because this month, big month, we're starting to get a little bit of inklings of traction after what's been a time of reflection and review and just really mulling things over. And because it's been Venus going retrograde, which has been retrograde since late July, um, the reflection and review is more on a personal nature, has to do with our values, has to do with what we feel and care very personally for and strongly about. And because it's Venus, it tends to denote relationships and one-to-one connections and our feelings therein, and what, really getting clear on what matters to us, what we want, and what's important. So, been a time of reflection, and on the 4th, we're going to have Venus going retrograde. Now, this chart that I have posted, this is for September 1st, and so on September 1st, the beginning of the month, we're actually coming out of a full moon that was conjunct Saturn here, and that was on Wednesday the 30th, and so that can really speak to a time of culmination, of really culmination of a lot of perhaps hard work, maybe sacrifice, and putting the time in, putting the effort in, doing those Saturnian things. There can be some realization of hitting the peak and kind of reflecting back to the sun that which has been accomplished, and that which has been time which has been put in. It can be it can really speak to hard work and due diligence and time, but it can also speak to like a plateauing, right? Of like, right. And so, it's a very short term aspect. We're talking about the moon here. So, this is kind of, that full moon kind of represents a peak of the ramping up of maybe a lot of work and time put in, and effort put in, and just sort of plateauing, and just saying, and maybe relenting a little bit, and kind of spending the rest of the month maybe enjoying some of the fruits of the hard work that it's taken you to get to where you are. That could be in store, but the moon is going to be in a waning cycle, so it's more about disseminating and dispersing as opposed to building up, right? So on the 4th is when we're going to have Venus finally stationed direct. Okay, and so Venus is actually it's actually moving very slowly right now. Uh, at the first of the month, Venus is um, yeah, it's moving very slowly at about 12 degrees Leo, and it's moving retrograde. And so it's where it's going to be. It's almost stopped, but it's still inching backward, and on the 4th it starts to inch forward again. And so, um, Venus, as I've said in other videos, it's normally when you have Venus transiting, it's kind of, it's like a nice warm breeze, right? It's just it's like a good aroma in the air. It's nice. It makes things nicer. It's kind of sweet, but it's not a big game changer. It kind of, it doesn't save the day, but it's kind of nice. It makes things a little bit more tolerable, right? And it just adds a little extra 1%. But when it stations, especially when it stations direct, right around the degree where it's stationing direct in the sign, that really puts an emphasis on Venusian things, and it can really speak as it starts to move forward to some, the more positive of Venus. Now since Venus is going to start moving direct, we are now going to be ending the reflection period, and we're going to be looking forward and start to really have some ideas of what can be built upon, right? What, as far as values are concerned, as far as relationships are concerned, as far as um, things that are very personal to us, what can we start to actually build upon that's solid? Because we've done the reflecting, we've put the time in. Now we put the time into actually asking the tough questions. But in the month of September, starting at the 4th and moving forward slowly, and I emphasize slowly, it's going to be a time where we can start taking steps forward and taking action on, you know, what what truths we've really come to understand about ourselves, what it is that we have truly found that we value, whether it be in one-to-one connections or whether it be in our relationship to finances and money and things like that. Now, when Venus goes direct at that 12 degrees, it is going to be square to Jupiter. So this can be the caution here. Well, the bright side of it is it can be these are two what the ancient astrologers called benefic planets. So when they get together in a conversation, it can be very exciting. It can be there can be a lot of hope for the future. There can be a lot of hope for what's possible. There's a lot of good vibe, right, in the air with this energy, with Jupiter and Venus in connection like this. Um, and it can be a little dramatic because you got Leo involved with Venus and you got Taurus involved with Jupiter. So there can be, on a material front, this can be a fortunate time, but it's very important not to go overboard, right? This can be a time of indulgence, right? Totally. Um, so there's some caution with that, and that kind of period of indulgence. I mean, this has been going on. This square has kind of been in play for, um, you know, a week before we even get into September. It's making aspect to Jupiter, so this energy is around of indulging a little bit and in pleasure and wanting to explore the nature of being human and what it means to delight in sensual pleasure and things like that. This is very much in play right now with these two planets in connection, and the caution is don't go over the top, don't go overboard. Really understand that it too much of a good thing can turn out in the long run to not be such a good thing, right? And it's really it can prove not to be sustainable. Just looking at the the fun stuff, right? So anyway, just keep that in mind because there can be a lot of really big dramatic projections as to the meaning of what we're involved in. And it's just to temper that a little bit because these energies are a lot of fun and just to kind of understand what they are and that they have a season. So that's going on the 4th, and that energy will be in play in September. I mean, I see that it's going to be around for a good part of the month. I mean, for the first half of September at the very least, that energy will be there. And then even once we get toward, yeah, for most of the month, I'd say maybe in the first 3 weeks of the month, that energy is in play. But the main thing with yeah, Venus is going direct, and there is some enthusiasm, some gusto. It's like taking that relationship and value oriented nature of Venus and adding Jupiter to it, and then it just everything gets expanded. The optimism gets expanded. Um, the expansiveness, the enthusiasm, all these things, right? They really they really can get easily blown out of proportion. But just keep one foot on the ground because we do have Mercury still retrograde for the first part of the month here. Mercury is going to be retrograde until we get to about the middle of the month, 15th, and then it'll go direct. And so really, we may have a lot of strong feelings and desires and things that we want to, kind of make foundational as far as what we value. And can be especially true in material terms, but also in terms of relationship with that Venusian energy. But Mercury's still retrograde, so uh, you know just understand that there's more information coming in. There is more logistical realities that Mercury is going to scramble and put back together in a new way, right? So just be aware of that. Yeah, I mean, if we start laying the tracks, we might find out that the destination has moved, right? So just be aware of that. That's there, and Mercury will go. Mercury is going to go direct. Um, yeah, on the 15th. And what I like about Mercury is going to be going direct at 8 degrees of Virgo. And what I like about this, and what I've liked about this retrograde all along, is its relationship with Jupiter. Jupiter and a fellow air sign, fellow Earth sign of Taurus at right around 15 degrees, 14 degrees most of the month. And Mercury, as it's gone retrograde, has been in trine aspect from Virgo to Jupiter. So there's been this really nice conversation between these two planets. And Mercury and Jupiter, they're alike in many ways, but they're kind of opposite in many ways too. I mean, they both have to do with learning and teaching and education, but I mean, they're completely opposite in how they run that energy. The Jupiterian energy is expansive, it's big picture, it's abstract, it's law, it's medicine, it's these big ideas. Whereas Mercury is more about, it's more about trades, it's more about actual itty bitty skill, like in connecting the dots, right? It's a little more detail oriented, and so but when you have these planets in good trine aspect like this in Earth sign, it especially when we have Mercury starting to go direct, it can really lay a foundation for getting ahead on material projects that you want to get off the ground, and really making headway in a very practical, tangible way. And this we're talking about Virgo, we're talking about Taurus, both Earth signs. So I mean, whether it be digging a foundation and actually building a home or something, or just making progress in of uh, whatever field of activity that you actually want to build upon, whether it be building connections, reputation, whatever it is. This is very tangible energy. This is very solid, right? And it's great opportunity. And this aspect here with Mercury, I mean, this is an extended aspect. It's been a really good time, but once it goes direct, we're gonna have I'd say almost 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe, yeah, almost 2 weeks. Well, about toward the end of September. I mean, the last half of September looks really good for initiating things. Now, granted, Mercury will still be in shadow for a lot of that time. Mercury won't get out of shadow until we get to, you know, uh, right around the 26th of the month. But still, it's a really good time to start laying the foundation, start getting things going. I mean, as the month of September goes along, we are going to start feeling like, okay, now like all the chaos of all the unknowns and all the what ifs and this and that and all the contingencies. All of a sudden, things are going to start very slowly, day by day, getting clearer and clearer and clearer, and we're going to start to see that we've actually, more than likely set some of these foundations and made the changes and made the adjustments. And we're going to find as we get toward the end of the month, we have something to build upon. And that it was not all for nothing. And that there was some tangible structure under our feet here. So that looks pretty good. I really like that. I mean, again, I've liked this Mercury retrograde for this month. It's been a potentially very valuable time, even though it's Mercury and it's going retrograde and it's kind of a rascal in its delivery and kind of really getting into our plans and rerouting things. But this is one I felt we could really trust and felt like we could have it deliver us where we need to go and really have consequences that turn out better than we could have planned, right? So be open to that. And then we're going to have, now let's look at the, we're going to have the full moon on the 15th, right around the time Mercury goes direct. Full moon is going to be at 6 degrees of Aries. Um, yeah, and so that'll be a full moon right around the time um, that Mercury is stationing direct. Um, yeah, yeah, Mercury at that Mercury at that time that it goes direct will be, yeah, it'll I'm sorry. So yeah, right around that time we're going to have the full moon in Aries, and we're going to have Mercury going direct. And what I see with that is, with that full moon, is again illumination, because that's what the full moon is. It's really, it's like we can see at night. Okay, we can. It's things are lit up. It's reflecting back to us that which the time we put in, that which we've been up to for the previous couple of weeks. All of a sudden, it comes into full illumination. Given that we have Mercury going direct right at that time, I just think there's going to be a sigh of relief. Being that it's in an Aries, there's probably going to be a penchant for wanting to, uh, you know, strike out and just make things happen. And there's probably going to be a lot of energy, a lot of gusto, a lot of excitement. Um, just keep in mind that, a little patience is in order here. Because, the moon in Aries is can get us moving at a much faster pace than reality, right? So, um, just enjoy the excitement, enjoy the energy and the optimism, perhaps, and that passion that comes from that Aries full moon. But just keep in mind that you know there are still realities that are not moving at that same speed, and that just take a deep breath. Um, so yeah, right around that time, Mercury, right around the time that um, we have that full moon. Yeah. Okay. So then that Mercury will be going direct at that time. Okay. Um, yeah. And yeah. So anyway, that's good. And so also too, just one last thing with that full moon is, it is in the sign of Aries, and which means the sun is in the sign of Libra. Okay. Mars at that time, Mars will be yeah, Mars will be in Libra as well. Now it won't be directly conjunct that. It won't be a direct opposition, but it'll be within a few degrees of direct opposition that full moon, within about 6 degrees or so. And so just remember this too, right around the middle of the month with that full moon. This is really speaking to, because when we have Libra and we have Aries, we have, you know, with Libra, we have, it's the planet of relationships ruled by Venus, right? And then we have Mars is, Aries ruled by Mars is all about individuality, my way, what I want, what I'm passionate about, right? And so with the full moon there, it's sort of reflecting back this self and other dynamic, right? Which, given that we have Venus stationing direct around that time and moving forward, being at 15 degrees Leo, really making a pretty nice aspect by sign to this full moon area. Um, I just think right around the middle of the month, right around that full moon, we are going to get another layer of clarity around one-to-one connections, values, relationships. Like, yeah, throughout the month, it's slowly going to reveal. We're going to get new information. Things are going to come in. But right around the time that Mercury goes direct and we have that full moon, it's almost like there's going to be a this aha moment. I'm sort of predicting here for a lot of people, an aha moment around a lot of things that have been building and maybe some unanswered questions. It just looks like with that full moon, it's going to illuminate some things, and it looks to be a pretty favorable aspect where Venus is located. So I kind of like this. I kind of like this aha moment that's coming right around the middle of the month. Just understand that any kind of insights or anything, just take time with implementation. Don't rush out and try to run with that energy because it is a full moon, it is a culmination, and we still are going to have Mercury in shadow, very slowly moving direct. Um, and so, keeping in mind too that Venus, for the most of the month, even though it is direct, is also going to be in shadow, and it will not get out of shadow until we get to October. So, September, if I just had to sum it all up, September is it's a good month because we're starting to get pieces of insight and clarity, and things are starting to. It's like some of the track is being laid, and we have hope, we have optimism, and there's a lot of things that are really good, and there's reason to be optimistic. But as far as like moving forward at full speed, that's not coming till October. So just keep that in mind that you know there's probably a lot more enthusiasm and passion and will and desire to move forward, but the tracks may not be completely finished yet. So just yeah, try to pace yourself here. That's kind of the advice for this month. So that's what I got for September. I will be out of the country, so I likely will not be making another video until October. But until then, it looks like a pretty good month. It doesn't look like any wild cards are coming out of nowhere that you know you need to be wary of. It looks like it's a good time for forward progress. So that's what I got. Hope this is helpful, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.